One artist that I've always admired is James Drake. He was born in Lubbock. Well, he lived in El Paso, now he lives in Santa Fe. But this is some of his work. He does, welded metal sculptures relating to, weapon smuggling. He was, of course, very much interested in that whole border culture. Got a series of photographs, such as this, which are brothels in Ciudad Juarez. And these are, transvestites. So he's a multimedia artist, very much known for this body of work, which deals with the creation of language. He was interested in the way that this hand gesture, language developed in the prisons of El Paso. He also did drawings of it, but it's a charcoal drawing of a train boxcar. And you think, well, what does this have to do with the border? The border is, I think we're all familiar with the stories of people dying inside the boxcars, and that's what is happening here. In a very subtle way, tell you, about that story. This is the raft of the Medusa. And it's a charcoal drawing mounted on a metal frame. It's painting by Jericho, the French painter, and it tells the story of a traveler ship which is called the Medusa. It ran ashore. They had to construct a raft to try to get back to civilization. A lot of them perished along the way in this raft. They resorted to cannibalism and they struggled to survive. So he's making that connection of immigrants dying in the boxcar, putting it next to a historical painting. So when I started to see this, how this artist was creating artwork, taking references from art history and references from contemporary life, I think that really interested me. Now this is a self-portrait I did in 2003. I've always had a liking for dramatic lighting and interesting in Baroque art. I kind of started to find ways of relating my interest with contemporary events. When I was in grad school, I really started to research, find in the ways that the painters of the Baroque period worked. The dramatic lighting and working with underpainting, understanding how they painted, the form and the anatomy. These paintings are a learning process. I graduated from UT Pan Am in 1999, and then a few months after that, in 2000, I got a job doing a commission at San Martin de Porres Catholic Church in Huastlaco. I wanted my work to have not just this aesthetic, intellectual, meaning to it. I wanted to have something deeper, something beyond that. But this meaning, it's an altar piece. In Italy, the priest will deliver his sermon, in front of it. When you see it like that, it's totally devoid of its original, meaning. I enjoyed about, Caravaggio is the scale of his work. Also, you see it here, it's small, but these are life-size figures. And life-size figures just have this incredible impact on the viewer. It's like somebody's, standing right there in front of you. Another artist that I've always really enjoyed is Francisco de Zubarán. These are two of his paintings. He's not the most facile painter, he's like struggling as he's painting. Really great artists had this intensity of vision, they really believed in what they were looking at and what they were doing. And I don't care how talented you are as a painter, but there's painters that are 1,000 times more talented than it. But his paintings just have this intensity to them. And that's something that I try and get in my work. I don't know if it really comes across, but that's something I really want to get across in my artwork. This is, more of his work. It was, of course, all commissioned, or most of it commissioned for the church. It's a cup of water with a flower, but there's an intensity to it. I tried, to bring that to an ordinary object. I've eaten, hundreds or thousands of these, growing up here in this region. It's a Mexican pastry. It's a concha. I purchased one and I set it up in the studio, and I worked on it for, weeks. Trying to, building it up and sanding it down. And when using that same idea of presenting ordinary objects, these are packages or kilos of tortillas. It's a butchered vito or goat. Here, when you go to the supermarket and you buy meat, you almost forget where it came from. But it was just really interesting to paint, and at the same time think about how people that are exposed to this, the slaughter of animals, how that might kind of prepare them for the slaughter of human beings. Or like growing up in the country in Mexico and going to a quinceañera and seeing how they butcher a hog, get shot in the head, cleaned and then gutted. There's something very similar to what's happening to people now. And I can't help but see that connection.